record. So hello everybody and welcome to the Emotional Confidence Live Hangout for this week. I am Bree Stedman and this week I am joined by Robyn McElevey. I did it. So Robyn is a stress management expert, and in particular she loves working with women to help women to clear their minds and just to create a little bit more balance in their life. And we've just had perfect example while we're setting up the meeting is trying to sort out our cameras and everything. And Robyn, I'm guessing this is just the way you live your life. You're just going with the flow and sort of doing whatever you can to make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all stressed.
No, not at all.
So how long have you been working as a stress management expert?
Well, I've probably been the last 3 years, but probably you could say 6 or 7 years I've been working up towards it and studying. Really, it's been a lifetime of learning about stress.
Yeah. And so what tell us a little bit about your journey. What sort of took you from where you started into wanting to not only help others with stress management, but also to live your life with less stress?
Well, I had a lot of stress in my life. From an early age, I was pretty much reared with stress. My mother is a stress freak. She had a nervous breakdown when I was about 7 years old. She also had like obsessive compulsive disorder. So everything about her life was stress. And so I was taught that. Yeah. And even though I wasn't like that, I was living my life like it because it was taught to me. Yeah. It's not who I am. So I lost my dad. I watched my father die when I was 11, which caused incredible stress for me. And by the time I was 13, I was addicted to drugs. So that was my response to the stress. Then I lost my daughter when she died suddenly in a car accident. So I've had these major stresses going on all my life. And it's just something that I've learned to just sort of shove down there.
Yeah.
I know we all go through different levels of stress, but when you have huge trauma in your life, you tend to hold on to it. And so it comes out in all these different ways, whether it be physically, emotionally, mentally. And so what happens is you start to get all of these different things going on in the body and the mind, and you get addiction and other different things. And let's face it, we're all addicted to stuff. Every one of us. Yeah. We're just addicted differently. Yeah.
And that addiction is sort of filling up the holes that are there because of life situations. We try and fill the holes up with what we can control, and that is how the addiction sort of forms through, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you've had all these events happen in your life. Any one of them could have been the catalyst for you to sort of shift your life in a different direction. Was there something in particular that, like that light bulb moment where you just went, no, I've got to take control and help myself so I can help the other people around me?
Yeah, it was probably about when my daughter died, that was probably, that was 1997, and I was 41, and it was just the most traumatic time in my life, and I didn't think I would survive it. I didn't think I'd ever get through that. And I suppose that was my turning point where I started to go down. I went back into my addiction because I'd worked through it and come out of that, but then I started to go back into it and not want to just, what was the point of life, etc. Even though I had other children, I had 2 sons, and I actually had ended up rearing her daughter, my granddaughter. She was 3 years old when my daughter died. So that was probably my turning point. I was either going to go down or I was going to pull myself out.
Yep.
And eventually I did. I made that decision because everything is our own choice. And so what I did was I said, right, I'm going to fill that hole rather than take drugs and, just take my life, back down again, I decided that I was going to give to young women because my daughter, she was going through struggles in her life as well, and like we all do. So I wanted to really help young women. So I'm very passionate about that, and that's where it all started. And so I went on this journey of learning, well, where do I fit? Where do I go? Like, I don't know. I don't even know who I am. I didn't know myself. And so what's come from that, probably the last 7 years, I've really been full on developing myself, left my job, became entrepreneurial, and just went, right, I'm giving this a go. So I just, went to sort of being broke, and knowing, well, where am I going from here? What am I doing? And that was pretty much the full-on turning point where I gave up my job and said, I'm doing this. And so went on a journey to learn what I was going to do to women. Yeah.
So what I'm picking up from that story is there's two things. The first thing is that it can be a big pill to swallow to go, shit, I have responsibility here. The situations are shit and all of them are out of my control, but ultimately I have responsibility as to how I react to them and how long I allow them to affect me negatively. So that's a big pill to swallow. And then secondly, to have that leap of faith, to recognise that the path you were heading down was not in true alignment to your value system and to what was important to you, to be able to just cut that off and take that leap of faith to follow your heart, they're the two real, they're almost the deciding factors, aren't they? For any change to happen, you need to accept responsibility that you can hold on to it or let it go. And then you need to have the faith and courage to follow what doesn't always make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I would never have dreamt that I would choose this path. It was just not within my thought realm. I'd always been interested in health and inspiring people, always. I'm a motivator. I'm an inspirationalist, and I'm an innovator. I'm a visionary, and what I do is find new things and bring them to the forefront. And so that was the journey that I started to go on, and it was like really affected my marriage. Like, my husband was going, what's going on here? Like, what are you doing? And of course, we've all usually got another partner, and within his right, hey, we need to pay a mortgage here, we put the bread and butter on the table. Like, what are you doing? And I even came to a point where I said, I'm sorry, but I can't stay here unless I follow my path.
Yes.
And I said, you have a choice to go your way. I'm sticking to what I'm doing. And I was willing to do that because I had to follow my heart.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, well, you don't have to really get to that point. And I said, well, you've either got to accept it or this is what I'm doing. And it's probably not a good thing to tell everyone, like, leave your husband or whatever. But, I mean, I've got a beautiful husband. And he sort of saw, it was really about him seeing that I was ready to stand for what I believed in.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what I have to do, and I can't live my life unless I'm being true to myself.
Yeah. And you were also following that innate female factor. Women are so much more connected to heart and gut. And because of the way that we've been raised and because of that, just that masculine energy that has been the dominant energy for so long, we've conditioned ourselves to check out from the neck down. So the fact that you really went into your heart and said, I just have to follow my heart, that's embracing the female factor.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So what it continues to inspire you to help young women now to deal with stress management? What's the driving catalyst now to keep going down that journey?
Well, what I discovered about 6 years ago with my own stress levels was aromatherapy. And so I was just so overwhelmed with the changes that it had created in my life that I became a clinical aromatherapist. So I'm not like your average aromatherapist. I don't do like massage and all of that sort of stuff. I'm more about teaching you how to implement it into your life so that it helps to just balance you and it supports you in all aspects of your body. Because I'm right into body, mind, spirit, and, healing is about all of those things. And if you're not putting all of it together, you can't heal properly.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to the doctor and get a pill, but allopathic medicine only addresses the symptom and not the cause. And it doesn't address on a cellular level.
Yep.
So that's how I came into aromatherapy. But it really still wasn't my calling. Like, I'm not a practitioner that will sit and have a client come in and then just give them some oils and then say, off you go. I'm more about empowering people.
Yeah.
And so I wanted people to take control for themselves like I learned to and deal with their emotions. And so from the struggles that I've learned, I started to create programs. Because when I was a kid, I was always like lining up my dolls and I had my little stick and I'd be tapping it on the board and I'd say, now look here, this is what you need to do. And I just tapped into my inner child as I was going through this journey and realised I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I need to be inspiring people to teach themselves what they need to do because we're all on a different journey. So what's good for me may not be necessarily good for you. So now I write programs, and that's what I've done. I've created programs on living stress-free.
Yeah, okay. And what draws you to working with women more so than men?
Because women are more responsive and more open to change emotionally, and say, like you were talking about, their brain and their heart and their intuition is connected. And so whereas men, they think differently. They have a different brain.
Yep.
And they're just more practical and down to earth, whereas women will I've got this system that I've created, and it's really about your ABCs. You act, then you believe, and then you conceive. That's how I sort of teach within my programs, because really you need to act before you actually believe in something. You just do it. Whereas a man would have to work out, well, is this practical here, and is this going to be the right thing to do? And so by rights, yes, a man should be like that, because he's sort of looking after the family, financially, and going out, and he's the protector, he's the hunter, So he's got to go out and do that kind of thing. And so his brain is just sort of connected that way.
Yeah.
But women are so much easier to sort of work with in that sense. And I'm not saying men aren't, because some men are more in touch with the feminine side as well. Yeah.
What do they say? 1 in 10 women will process with a more masculine headspace, and 1 in 10 men will process with a more feminine headspace. So there's always that cross market, but totally hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So and also it's connected to my daughter as well, because there was a hole left for me, and I just said, oh wow, like I just hit 60 this year, and a lot of women would say, oh wow, my life's pretty much over. Well, I'm just beginning. Like I reckon I've got another good 30 years if you look after yourself. And I'm very passionate about women sort of in their late 20s to around their 40s, and it doesn't mean that I'm not interested in women outside of those ages. I am. But that is just an area where I feel is very important, that you need to be knowing who you are and where you're going, set yourself up for the rest of your life. Because you could get to my age, so, I was 50 and thought, who the hell am I? Where am I going? What am I doing?
And that in itself is such a common problem with all the women that I talk to, that I work with. When we start talking about what's important to them and what makes their heart sing, 90% of them have no idea. They're just doing things because they feel like that's what they should be doing. You know, that's the expectation that was set up at school, or it was the expectation that was set up as to how they were raised, as to how they live their life. And they're really so disconnected from what makes their heart sing that they're just doing the groundhog, follow the motion kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's really sad. I find it so sad. Like I see, I worked at a college and I would see all these young girls, they're going to uni and stuff. They don't know what on earth, you know, they're going for or what they want to do at that age. So I want to help them to tap into who they are. I'm so big on identity. And I say to them, so you're going into debt for all this money and you don't even know who you want to be? And so the first part of my program is finding me. Like, who are you? And we go through your timeline. Who was it that put that stress inside you? Like, you know, why are you stressing about that? It's not even your stress. You know, like for me, it was the stress from my mother that was put into me. Yeah. And, you know, Mum didn't know. She didn't know any better.
Well, they only know.
Yeah,
and because we're also carrying on a generational passing on from, well, what do they say now? So epigenetics has proven that 7 generations of emotional baggage are passed from one ancestor to the next. So what we're even carrying, it's not ours, it's not even mum's, it's not even grandma's, it's, you know, up to, if not further back, than more than 7 generations of beliefs that are just passed on genetically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you had to give one piece of advice, if there's someone watching this either in the live event with Kristen being online, or if there was someone watching the replay and they were going, yes, I can recognise that stress is a predominant factor in my life and it's stopping me, what's one piece of easy advice that you would give that they could implement to try and alleviate some of that stress today?
Well, really, you need to be able to calm your mind. That's the first step, and that's the first thing that I work on. And we look at reflecting, like, where's all that chatter coming from? Like, it's just settling all the chatter that's going on in your mind, because we're busy today. We're extremely busy, and we're pulled from all different angles. We've got the kids, we've got the hubby, we've got work stresses. And if you've decided to become entrepreneurial, oh my goodness, the amount of stresses that come in on that, because you're working 6 jobs at once. Yeah. And so, you know, it even becomes, you know, like, oh, what am I doing? And I said to somebody once, oh, I feel like I'm like OCD, you know, but it's just because there's so much going on. So we need to calm the mind. Yeah. Next, you need to relax your body, because it all comes from your mind, because you can't calm your body unless you're telling yourself the right things. So you need to learn different techniques of calming the body. Yeah. And, you know, so you've got all parts of your body, and so we look at how to restore balance in your body. We learn about nourishing it. So you need to be nourishing your body, and you also need to be resetting so that you can go from where you are now on to the next level. I'm really big on going from one step at a time, from one level to the next. And then we go into soothing the soul, because we're mind, body, spirit. Whether you're spiritual or not, you're going to have to face the fact that you've got to find something that you've got to believe in. Yeah. And so what I would say is just soothe your soul. Just like I talk about soothe your groove, because we've all got a groove that we fit into. Yeah. And it's like, and it's about just flow, and it's all about movement as well. And in my workshops, I just get women to just let go and be free and sort of just flow, how your body wants to flow. You don't have to have this set thing where you got to be a good dancer or anything like that. Just move. You know, let it go and soothe your groove and just flow and just let it go. And
again, that's kind of coming back into that female factor. You know, we are cyclic. We are designed to be constantly moving. We're not rigid, straight up and down, humans, that's what males are. Males hit puberty, their hormone system flatlines. Well, not flatlines, but doesn't move very much. We are constantly moving. So our cycles change. Because our cycles change, our bodies change. Because our bodies change, we need to have that movement in whatever way that like you say, groove. Just allow yourself to be without trying to fit into a box all of the time.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I'm bouncing around on a ball now. Because it's good for me. So if you're noticing me sort of, going on different angles and things, it's because I'm moving.
Yeah.
I won't sit in a chair. I'm on a ball to balance my body. And so every now and again I'll move because the body's moving.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah.
We're not just one thing. There are lots of things. Yeah.
And so you're based in Sydney, aren't you?
Well, yeah, no, I'm in Newcastle, south of Newcastle.
Whereabouts are you at?
I'm at Morisset Park.
Oh, we're only like 10, 15 minutes apart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm at Murray's Beach.
Oh, wow. I love Murray's Beach.
So
Yeah. So I'm at Little Lake. So I'm actually on Lake Macquarie.
Yes.
And so I've got a little lake that I look out of my backyard. It's called Little Lake. So it's off the big lake. Yeah.
Beautiful.
We'll have to catch up for coffee.
We will,
girl.
in person.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants information on how they can work with you, how are they best to connect?
Well, at the moment, I'm going through a huge transition, but I can give my email at the moment, but I'm also changing that. It's called Life, L-I-F-E,
Yep.
Works, W-O-R-X,
Yep.
Living at gmail.com. So that was my old business name, Life Works Living, because life works. You just got to make it work.
Yeah.
And so now I've kind of gone more into a holistic approach. And so I'm rebranding my whole business. So, yeah, but at the moment.
Evolving and growing again. See, we never stay still. We're always moving into the next version of who we're going to be. And it's our responsibility to embrace it and grow into that space, or to fight it and sort of get trapped.
Yeah. And also on Facebook, I've got several Facebook groups, but it's just Robyn McElevey on Facebook.
Yep.
And you can give everyone the spelling.
I will. I'll link it onto the bottom of the video.
It's like Smith in Ireland.
I will link that. So if anyone's watching, that's how you can connect with Robyn. And if you're not part of our Emotional Confidence for Women group, then you are more than welcome to join it. We're really aiming to build a movement of women just supporting, lifting and encouraging one another. And as you can see, it's not just about one fit, because there are so many variations of women. There are so many variations of life experiences and what you're looking for life in the future. And so the goal is to connect us together so that we can help one another by providing services like either mine or Robyn's. When you find one that fits, you just follow that heart, you take that leap of faith and run with it without questioning it, because it's our hearts and our guts are telling us to do things. We're just not listening to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Robyn. It's been you're fascinating. You're obviously a woman with a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And I imagine that what you give to your clients is, that heartfelt courage and strength so that they can step into their personal place of power as well.
Yeah, exactly. I just love to inspire people to just be their best.
Yeah.
And
that's what it's about.
All of us have it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Kristen, for joining us live. And I will pop this up as a replay so anyone can jump on board again. And we'll definitely connect since we're so close.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Mwah.
Bye everyone.